Hello, folks, and welcome to the quarterly Close Community Coalition meeting. My name is Paul McNeil. I am the Coalition's program director, and with us we have some board members. We have Shelley Warren, who's a board chair. We have Amy Higgins, board member. We have a bunch of youth board members. Well, how about we just go around and introduce ourselves? Go around, we'll introduce ourselves, and we will please share your name, your sector that you represent within the coalition, and this went so well with our parents. We had a parent cafe a couple weeks ago, and the icebreaker was, what did you eat for breakfast, and or what did you wish you ate for breakfast? So let's start with Shelley.
All right. I'm Shelley Warren. I represent the schools, but I also am the parent of teenagers, so I can represent that as well. And I'm the substance use response coordinator for the district, so I probably represent the field in some way. And I had a hard-boiled egg for breakfast, and I had like a little clementine, and it was overripe. So I was very disappointed. I had like one segment of it, and then I had to I couldn't finish it. So it was kind of disappointing because that's all I have. But since lunch is at 10:20 at the high school, I made it. With that, I'll pass to Brian because you're to my right.
Brian Kazaska, LCTV. What was the other question, Paul? You want?
What did you eat for breakfast? Oh, what sector you represent?
LCTV and
Media.
Media, yeah. And hopefully we'll be doing something with Tim and PSAs. So that'll be good.
And Tim's going to talk about that a little bit. Great entree, Brian. I saw what you did there. We got Gila and Chris just joining us. And Brian, pick someone to go next.
We'll go Tim, because I mentioned you. You're there.
Yeah, it's one of the ways.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm Tim Callahan. I guess I kind of fall under the social media PSA contest spectrum of the coalition. I'm currently an intern, also currently active duty in the Army, but getting ready for that to be over here in May, which I'm very excited about. And then I had some eggs, ham, spinach, omelet, all together. Delicious. It was great.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Pick another person.
I guess I'll pick Nico.
Hi, I'm Nico Nitsis. I'm currently a marketing intern for Close Community Coalition, and I'm a senior Lama High School. And also, for breakfast this morning, I had eggs with toast and then with coffee and water.
That's awesome. All right, Nico, pick another buddy.
I'm gonna go with Jonah next.
Hey, Nico. So my name is Jonah Barassi. I'm part of the youth sector at Close Community. I'm a junior at Long Meadow High School. And for breakfast, I had a defrosted leftover pancake from over the weekend, and then kind of an omelet, but it wasn't an omelet. I kind of let the egg just kind of made like an egg pancake with spinach and ham, and then kind of ate the pancake and that egg pancake together. That was my breakfast. Mrs. Kroon. Oh, you're muted, by the way.
Here we go. Katie Kroon, parent sector, and for breakfast I had a bowl of strawberries and blueberries. It's kind of simple,
Nice.
but delicious. And I'll go to Chris.
Okay, I am Chris Rich. I'm part of the parent sector. And I actually don't eat breakfast, but the first meal I ate today, my awesome son Cooper made some fried rice for lunch, and he left some for me to eat. So that's what I had. And I don't know who, since I got here late, I don't know who hasn't gone. Gila, have you gone?
No, I haven't gone. Gila Sabiti from Western New England University, College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Breakfast, coffee and cream this morning. Let's see, has Kaylee and Catherine gone? No, neither of them. I'm looking at Kaylee, so maybe she can go. Maybe she's gone. Is it Kaylee?
Kaylee.
Kaylee's thing freezes up periodically. So why don't we have Catherine go and maybe Kaylee will figure out her system by then.
Yeah, sure. I'm Catherine Mulcahy, I'm a youth sector. I'm a junior. This morning I was running a little late, so I had a handful of animal crackers and half a granola bar. Yeah, that's all I could. That's all I had time for. Sarisha, you wanna go?
Yeah, I'm Sarisha. I'm also part of the youth sector, and I had pancakes for breakfast. I don't know who's left that needs to go. I know Kaylee needs to go. Does anyone else need to go?
Okay, my name is Kaylee. I'm also.
I think I still need to go, unless someone else is talking on mute.
Kaylee was trying to talk, but was very, very quiet.
Okay, I'll wait.
Is this better?
It's a little bit better. If you yell, perhaps it'll be like the best.
I'll do it. My name is Kaylee. I'm part of the youth sector. And for breakfast, I had frosted honey bunches of oats.
Ooh. I didn't know they made those frosted. Did you self-frost them?
I did not.
They came pre-frosted. Okay.
Yes, they're really good. And I guess Galaxy.
Amy Higgins.
Okay, everyone. Hi, still in the meadows. There's your view.
She's lost.
I represent the parent sector. And for breakfast, I had some berries with some Cheerios. And what I wish I had for breakfast, I actually had for dinner, which was bacon. It was turkey bacon on a BLT.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Here's
Is that
the meadows.
everybody? And Emery, you already went?
No.
Yeah. Oh, no. Go ahead, Emery.
No. Hi, I'm Anne-Marie Ennitzberger-Croisy. I represent the community sector as part of support groups in the area, such as Learn to Cope. Oh, for breakfast, I had coffee, and right now I just am eating my lunch/dinner.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. And I didn't actually share what I had for breakfast. So I represent the staff of the coalition. I'm the only paid staffer, but we have so many volunteers on this call right now. It's kind of overwhelming. Everyone in this meeting is a board member or an intern or a sector representative. There's no randos. To any of the randos who watch this on LCTV, we invite you to join us every 3 months for our quarterly meeting. What did I have for breakfast? I had my wife found this new recipe on Food 52. It's like half steel cut oats, half regular rolled oats. And there's like some golden raisins and some chia seeds and some maple syrup and some milk and some yogurt. And it was very, very good. But it's not enough, guys. Not enough protein. Had to have 2 soft-boiled eggs as well. So that was a treat. Soft-boiled eggs is kind of like my favorite thing now for breakfast. Just a little bit of planning, just a big payoff. Great. So we have such a great slate and a great agenda set up for us. Shelley, I think the slides that we were sharing are ready to rock. If you wanted, I feel like you're really comfortable pulling up slideshows. I still struggle.
Yeah,
with
although I think we were going to have Tim and Nico go first, right?
Yeah, I threw some of their slides right into the slideshow.
Oh, okay. So
Tim's up.
I'll share my slides then, and
Yeah, that'd be great.
Aha, there we go. So Tim, looks like you're up first.
Yep. All right. So like I said, Tim Callahan. I got here January-ish, like late January. And I've kind of tried to revamp some of the social media stuff. So with that being said, we can just jump right into it. So next slide, please.
Yep.
All right. So with Facebook, so all the data that I got was like from all the analytical pages, either on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram. And for Facebook specifically, that's probably been where the most improvement is. So like, as you can see, views, likes, overall engagement, followers, responsiveness on, Nico and I's end, all of that is going in a positive direction from when I first started. And the way we've pretty much been doing that is we try to prioritize like interaction within posts. So an example of that would be we post an article, somebody likes, comments is a good one, or shares it, and then interacting with whoever that person is. That doesn't always mean like, you know, a direct message or something, but a good example would be like if they comment and then we respond to them and try to create a discussion, and then maximizing our reach. And the reach is basically like how your page grows and how you find out more information about who's looking at what you're actually posting. So the reach is super important. And then for Facebook, our goal is just going to be to continue to maximize the growth of the page, but while focusing and engaging other coalitions in neighboring towns. That's something that kind of I thought makes a lot of sense. Everybody is on digital media nowadays. So especially getting those, you know, towns in like West Springfield, Holyoke, like all of these other towns, we can all kind of band together to work towards a common denominator. So you mind hitting the next slide? And so then Twitter and Instagram are similar. They both are progressing slower than Facebook, but they're still that upward trend that we want to see. I'm not even like old, but like Twitter is totally new to me. I don't have a Twitter, so I've kind of been like stumbling around that, trying to figure it out. But we've been posting like less overall, but the content of each post, we've tried to make sure that the content itself is really what we're hitting on and that is a quality piece. And then I kind of just think that the reason that they might be growing a little slower is because the demographic of who views our pages tends to be a little like older. And Twitter and Instagram specifically is a very like youth oriented social media platform. So to kind of combat that, my goal and our goal as a whole is just going to be to start incorporating more teen friendly content. Like if all else fails, just to get people on the page so that they hopefully will actually start to read through some of the articles and then just to find more of that content. But trying to maximize our reach, like I said, by just getting more people onto the actual page itself. And it's still going in a good direction. It's just a little slower just because I think part of that might be user error. Like I don't really know Twitter too well. But do you mind hitting the next slide? And then overall, I've noticed a positive increase in pretty much like all aspects of the platforms. Visits, likes, impressions, all of that kind of is going up in a good direction that we want to keep going forward on. So I want to continue those trends, but I also want to build more relationships on digital media, specifically with neighboring towns. So like the other day I shared one of these, an East Hampton coalition's page, and they liked it, commented it, and messaged us. And so in the future, hopefully they'll share and then we'll gain some followers and then it'll just keep blossoming into something bigger. But then ultimately what I would also want to do is our 13 to 25, like that age range, that demographic is just not really where I think it should be. So I was trying to kind of like brainstorm ways that I think that we could increase that like viewership. And so I was like, maybe we could just hit up Friendlies or Interstate 91 or something that's a little more friendly towards that age group, just to start facilitating an easier flow of resources and information to that audience, because we want to inform everybody, but specifically I feel like that's kind of the age group that we really want to make sure have the resources to this information. And so those are my two goals moving forward. I don't have a ton of time left, but I'm still going to keep trying. So, and then the PSA contest, which is my baby. So the deadline for the submission of the PSA contest is going to be the 31st. So this month, March 31st, with the final date, like the actual award ceremony, is going to be April 7th. So the topic, if nobody knows, I think everybody should know, but what is your natural high is the topic. And we're basically trying to highlight in these videos that, yes, you know, some teens do decide to do substances, but the vast majority don't. And they have a healthy alternative to what that is. So it could be a video of you playing lacrosse. It could be a video of, you know, I used to wrestle and do track in high school. But something like that. Walking the dog, it doesn't really matter. But in the video, it just has to say what my natural high is blank or something along those lines. No length requirement for the videos. I think 30 to 90 seconds is typically what would work best. According to Brian, I think I remember you said something similar or to that effect.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I think it just has to do with like actually like uploading it. Like that time frame just works the best. But I mean, I'll sit and watch a 45-minute long video if somebody makes it. And then like you can sign up with Stand, Mrs. Roy, or the Key Club, all of whom said that, you know, they would be a beacon for people to sign up with. And then winning prize, what everybody's going for, $50 gift certificate to the kitchen and volunteer hours and extra credit, or either or however they want to work that. But that's pretty much what I have pending any questions.
Oh yeah,
Paul, I think you're still muted.
I accidentally advanced the slide. Sorry about that. Yeah. I'm trying to move my participant thing off of here.
I wasn't muted, Tim. I was stretching my mouth out. Yeah. Thanks. I wanted to just thank Tim. He's been doing such an amazing job since he started with us a month or two ago. And he's been working basically 35 plus hours a week for free on loan to us from the military. So we're really, really pleased that he's joined us. And he didn't mention, I don't think, that his mom is a Longmeadow Lancer. So she's an art teacher
of Longmeadow.
Chicken.
That sounds like a Sergeant Mazzaferro child.
The famous Mrs. Callahan, but that's my mom.
So I have a question. I'm wondering if the youth could weigh in on Twitter, and if one of the young people could, you know, tell me how common do you think Twitter is being used by people in your age bracket right now?
I think it depends on the person. Like, I personally don't use Twitter too often. I definitely think like Instagram right now is kind of what people check the most. I would say like college students are really the only ones checking Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like older kids that are using Twitter. I have Twitter, but I just don't go on it a lot. Yeah.
So that might be part of the slowness too. It's just like the demographic. But and then I know you guys mention a lot. I hear a lot about TikTok, and I wouldn't know what to do. Like, I honestly wouldn't know what to do.
I do have a TikTok.
You do?
I don't know how. Yeah, my little sister got me on it and I can't get off it. I'll be going on like these like 6-hour binges, but that's but
So
I don't really know how I would. It's hard to kind of tailor, besides like I could picture making one like, you know, like making an actual like video, like a PSA basically, with
Right.
using all that same criteria. That's something that I'll look into, because I'm not entirely sure what else you could do, because it's a lot of like video related stuff, but I'll look into it for sure.
I think you might find some other coalitions have used it across the nation. I don't know about locally, but there might be some interesting ideas there.
Yeah, and the thing about TikTok too that's kind of unique is I feel like a lot of different age groups do have it. Like there is like a lot of youth that you have it, but like you do get like a lot of different people that are on it, because it's used for a lot of really different things. actually. So it is kind of interesting in that aspect.
I bet we could have Paul do a dance on TikTok and people would totally be all over it.
I agree.
So should we move to Nico?
Yeah.
All right. In the interest of time, thank you, Tim.
Thanks so much, Tim.
All right. Nico,
Oh yeah, as said before, I'm Nico Mnitsis. I'm currently a senior in Lamo High School, and I'm also a marketing intern for Close Community Coalition. And I just wanted to personally thank all the members who were able to make it to this virtual event through Zoom tonight as of March 25th, 2021. I also want to thank everyone who's able to make this event happen tonight. And lastly, I just want to personally give a warm welcome and thank you to all the audience members who were plan on watching this through LCTV in the future. None of you go unnoticed. And next slide, please. So prior to when Mr. McNeil had offered me the marketing internship for Close Community, I didn't really know much about what the organization was about. I knew a little bit about it. And through time, as I started researching them more, I then realized that the things that they are interested in, what they like to spread awareness on, and some of the other things that they support are similar to ideas and topics that I'm also interested in and researching often. And so when Mr. McNeil had offered me to work as an intern for a Close Community, I actually was really excited for it and really happy and couldn't say no to that opportunity. And so to this day, I'm so really happy that I'm working for them. And oh yeah, and next slide, please. And so as a marketing intern, one of the things that I actually have to do is that I manage like Tim Callahan, I manage their social media accounts. I typically post on their Facebook and Facebook and Twitter accounts. And some of the things that I usually will post about are reposts of news articles that talk about why young adults and kids get addicted to certain substances at an early age and what can be done to address those issues, and also what can be done for future generations to not have those similar addictions in the long run. And and then also lastly, one of the other things I do as a marketing intern is I have to every 2-3 weeks distribute flyers and ask various teachers, faculty members, and staff members at the high school if they want some of the flyers that Close Community had created. And next slide, please. And these were some of the flyers that we made. And with the first flyer, the one on the very left, where it said 7 out of 10 LHS students talk with friends over using drugs and alcohol to relieve stress, I managed to get 29 faculty, staff, and teachers that from the high school that I know really well say yes to having one of the flyers. So I was really happy about that, and I'm optimistic that it'll probably go up a little bit more the next time I ask them if they want a flyer, which is the second one, the 86% of LHS students, and then the third one is the next one as well. So and then I'm definitely looking forward to what Close Community has to hold in the future as well.
And those, we should say, Nico, these were all designed by our very own Catherine Mulcahy, who is a very talented graphic designer. She's also very funny. And we just appreciate, we appreciate the hard work she's put into designing these. And with all of this was with input from the Students Together Against Negative Decisions group, who we love and cherish and support. So thank you so much to that whole team.
Thanks, Paul.
No, thank you, Catherine. Nico, is that it?
And I think, Nico, you're kind of a pilot for us, because some people might not know, the high school will be starting an internship program more formally next year that students can participate in. So this was a dry run of having Close Community serve as a location site for student interns. So we hope that we'll have like a regular flow of students who can help us with our marketing on an ongoing basis. So thank you for doing that. All right, am I next, Paul? I'm trying to
You
think.
are, yeah. Thanks again, Nico. You've been doing awesome.
So Paul and I wanted to share some stats with you, and we swore that we were going to only say one sentence on each slide. So that is my commitment to try to stick to it, because we get so excited about the data that we can go on and on and on. And some of those conversations are probably best left for the two of us. So this is our latest edition from the school climate survey, which we do for the entire student body every March. So we were kind of fortunate that, and I'm already over my sentence, but
Oh my gosh, Shelley, you're on like sentence 7. What is going on?
I'm setting the frame for all the slides, for those of you who don't know about the survey.
Sure.
So we do this every March, and last year it started right as the pandemic started. Our survey went out, and then it's exactly a year later. So it ends up kind of accidentally being a good measure of the first year of the pandemic. So our 2020 data is asking students about the previous year before the pandemic started. And 2021 asks them about this past year, all the way back to March of 2020. So this is our marijuana data. And you can see that we had some slight declines happening. And then there was a jump up right around the time of legalization. And then the past 2 years of survey data now indicate a drop off. So 12th grade is here and sophomores are in green. So this is students who report using marijuana in the past 30 days. So that's an excellent, excellent shift. Similarly, something that Stand focused on a lot in the past 2 years and close was impaired driving, marijuana impaired driving. So our data that we got in 2018 was alarmingly high, no pun intended. And we actually invested in some marijuana goggles and some activities, and we ran several events and really published a lot about it. And look what happened. It's really cool. Our marijuana impaired driving has declined again significantly in the past 2 years. The number of students who have said they never have used various substances has increased in the same time period. And we're focusing on marijuana tonight. So I just want to highlight 78% of our students, that's the average from grades 9 through 12, say they have never tried marijuana in their life. And Paul, you want to take it from here? This is yours.
Yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to parents in the Zoom room. Whoop, whoop, whoop. They are incredibly influential with the decisions that their teenagers make. And so here we have the power of parents. The question involved, do your parents think it is wrong or very wrong, or not wrong at all, or a little bit wrong, to use marijuana? And then we also tracked, well, of the students who said that parents said it was wrong or very wrong, which of those students were regular marijuana users? That is, they reported using marijuana in the last 30 days, and which of the students report not using marijuana in the last 30 days. And as you can see here, it is a dramatic difference for kids who report their parents saying that it is wrong or very wrong. 92% of students who report that their parents think it's wrong or very wrong are non-marijuana users. And as Ms. Warren just said, 78% is the normal number for students who've never even used marijuana. But more than 9 out of 10 students do not use marijuana if their parents think it is wrong or very wrong. Next slide. And here's the power of knowledge. So students who self-report risk or great risk of marijuana use, or no risk or slight risk, we see the data here. And the regular marijuana users do report just perceiving less risk in marijuana use. The 96% of students who report risk or great risk are reported non-regular users. So that's almost 100%. So perceiving risk is a big deal. As you can see, Shelley, it was one sentence, you're right. Cut me off, it's appropriate. Here is the power, this is the same slide. Power of peers. So not wrong or a little wrong. This is the question is, how wrong do your friends feel it would be for you to use marijuana? We have not wrong or little wrong or very wrong. And as you see here, the 99% of students report having not used marijuana that believe that their friends think it is wrong or very wrong. So peer influence, your peer group, the kids you hang out with, unbelievably important in your choices around marijuana use. This is a rainbow. The reason why we wanted to include this was because we wanted to show that students who, so of all the substances, we have 5+ drinks in 1 to 2 weeks, 1 to 2 times per week, 1 to 2 drinks per day, smoking tobacco, 1+ packs of cigarettes per day, regular vaping use is the maroon or magenta, marijuana, using marijuana 1 to 2 times per week, prescription drug misuse, all these colors, right? These are all the substance use measures that we're tracking in Longmeadow. And if you can see the green bar on the very right, so that's like the least perceived risk of all the substances, marijuana. So it's a very specific substance in this community that students don't think it's as risky. And then if you look over on the no slight risk side of things, it's by far the most students think that it is there's no risk or there's just some risk. And that might line up with what we're talking about a little later on with some of the misperceptions. But I wanted us to get a good grip of that perception. That was a really long sentence. There were some comma splices in that sentence.
We'll let it go, Paul.
Thank you.
Okay, and I have 2 sentences on this slide, so I don't think I can do it in one.
Good luck.
So, when we look at what parents think, we ask students what their parents think about how wrong it is to do things, and 10% of LHS students said their parents wouldn't think it was wrong at all, or just a little bit wrong. And that's like double what is reported for any other substance. So there's more. It's 10% is still a small number, but it's less than. I'm going to say this backwards. More parents think it's okay to use marijuana than any other substance. That's what I want to say. And then down at the bottom, I think Paul kind of got at that with the chart already, that it's also more peers think that it's not wrong for people their age to use marijuana compared to any other substance. I think that's it for that. See, not bad. This is our logic model. And for those of you who have studied the SPF, all you CADCA attenders, the Strategic Prevention Framework, one of the things that you develop out of it is a logic model where you take your data analysis and you identify like what are the problem statements for your community, what the root causes are behind those, and what are the local conditions in your community that contribute to those root causes. So we have a really developed one for marijuana, and Paul and I just wanted to highlight at least one aspect from this. Oh, is somebody asking me a question?
No, that's just my son figuring out which toys to sneak into his room tonight.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought my audio was going wonky. So we just thought we would, what we were going to focus on is this local condition number 2, youth not believing that marijuana is harmful, which is where our data seems to be pointing. And Paul, do you want to take it from there on?
Sure. Slide it over to the next slide. Okay. It's kind of hard to see all these, but so with our logic model, that's okay. With our logic model, we identified one problem, which is for our marijuana logic model. We do a logic model for each substance that we focus on, which some coalitions only focus on like 2 substances, and we're focusing on 4. And so marijuana is one of them. Too many youth in Longmeadow are using marijuana. That's our problem statement. Our root cause is that there are favorable youth attitudes toward marijuana use. And one of the local conditions that Shelley just said was youth do not believe marijuana is harmful. So for every one of these local conditions, for every one of these substances, for every one of these root causes, we have a list of the effective strategies and interventions that we have focused on and targeted for our coalition. And they are of many things. They shouldn't be numbered 8 to 14. They should be 1 to 6 there. Provide information. That's one thing that we do as a strategy. We try to enhance skills. We try to provide support. We try to reduce access and enhance barriers. That is, reduce access to substances, enhance barriers to substances, or reducing barriers or enhancing access to treatment or recovery, and changing consequences, so incentives or disincentives, changing physical design of the town of Longmeadow, for example, just increasing lighting on parks, park pathways at Bliss Park or something like that, or at the Meadows, things like that. modifying and changing policies. That's really the kind of gold standard that we're shooting for at the end of the day is, can we change and modify policies that will affect the greatest amount of prevention and interventions? And so the green stuff, the black stuff is the stuff that we've had in this logic model pretty much from day one in our action plan. But the green stuff is stuff we've added in the last few years. And so I would love for each of us to just take some time to just read down the strategies and interventions. It's kind of hard to read, but if you zoom in somehow, I don't know if you can, it might be hard to do.
I think what we were going to do, Paul, is I'm going to pop a link to the Jamboard into the chat, and we have it on a Jamboard so that you'll be able to like interact with it. All right, so I just put the Jamboard in, and if you all click on the Jamboard, you should be able to join me inside of the Jamboard.
So everyone's going to click that link in the chat box, and then with that link, we're going to all go over and spend some time together in a communal Jamboard.
One of our favorite tools.
It's so handy. It's really fun. You guys will see how fun it is.
All right. So I'm going to leave it right there. I don't know how it moved. What we thought we'd ask you to do is take a look at the strategies that are there and see if you have any ideas of other things that we could be doing, or a nuance on something that's there, to focus on the needs that we see in our community related to marijuana prevention. So you can kind of take a look at what's already there and build off of it. Or if you have something totally new as a new idea, pick up a sticky note, which you can see my cursor over here. Sticky note. You don't need to sign your name. You can just type your idea. And when you hit save, it becomes a sticky note. And we'll just collect our sticky notes over on the right. So we're going to give you a couple of minutes to kind of take a look at that and maybe make some suggestions for what you think would work well in our community, or what do we need. I'm not sure where the logic model disappeared to. Am I the only one who can't see it?
No, it's gone.
I was starting to question my grip on reality. Thank you, Catherine. Where did it go?
Has it disappeared?
Yes, it's disappeared.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Did anybody's ideas disappear too?
Weird.
I saw one person who said looks comprehensive, and then Rick Cresta, which was my own addition actually. So
We can copy and paste another one? What happened?
okay. I don't know, but I think we should probably move to the second page of the.
Sure. Okay. All right, folks.
Go ahead.
Get your little Post-it notes ready. So we want to, we just want to throw out some misperceptions that are out there in the community around certain myths or facts around marijuana. And so if, Shelley, we can all see what you write.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say, what we want you to do is put your name on a sticky note And we're going to do a true false spectrum. And
Oh,
Paul
good
or
call.
I are going to share what we think are statements about marijuana. You can say whether you think they're true or false. And I'm actually not going to weigh in because
So
I
Jonah,
feel like
Kathy,
people will copy me.
Shelley, Srisha. Great. Okay. So yeah, here's the piece of information. Marijuana is a gateway drug. True or false? I should be seeing Tim Callahan's posted on here.
Are people nervous to commit to an answer?
How do you create a post-it?
You go over to the left, see where my hand is there. And when you click on that sticky note, it gives you a sticky note that you can just put your name in.
There's Kaylee, Jonah.
So true is over on the left and false is on the right. So the question is marijuana a gateway drug? If you think that's true, you can go over on the left. And if you think it's false, you can go over on the right.
Where's Tim Callahan's post-it?
I posted it. It's like a Tim dash and then the answer.
Oh,
Does that count?
Is it? It must be hiding.
Maybe
Well,
it's
on the
behind.
right.
Someone did a yes.
I don't see it. Is it, you see it, Tim?
I see it, yes.
That's weird. I don't see it.
Do you see anyone else's?
I see Rick Cresta. I see a false. I see a
Oh,
true.
okay. You want to go to page 2. So,
am I not on page 2?
yeah, and that's why you might not be the only one.
Brian,
So
where's your post-it?
see where my hand is up on the top here? You can go back and forth
How do I get my post-it?
between the pages.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
wrong page.
So you
I'm
might
on
need
my
to
way.
make a new post-it for the second page.
Brian, post-its are right underneath the arrow on the left side.
All right, Paul, do you want to weigh in on this one?
Sure. Yeah. I think we're getting in some good practice here. So you can't technically say marijuana is a gateway drug. So this is very gray. Marijuana does not automatically lead to bigger and more dangerous and harmful substances. It is not 100% causation or correlation. But what we do know is that any behavior in the adolescent years, when your prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, your judgment and your pleasure-seeking area, or no, your pleasure-seeking is developed. Your judgment, long-term judgment. It is marijuana wires the brain for that sort of dopamine and serotonin flood. And so whatever you do, if it's like cooking food, hanging out with your friends, exercising, if those habits are being done in your teenage years, you're wiring different pathways in your brain to do those things later on in life to achieve that good feeling. If you're using marijuana as a young person before your brain develops at the age of 25, is done developing, then you're much more likely to not only use marijuana more often, but to use other substances to seek that immediate gratification that marijuana and other substances can provide. So not a slam dunk gateway drug, but kind of a gateway drug with the way neural pathways work and are developed. All right.
So you want to say, I can type it, Paul, if you want to read another statement, I'll type it in.
It was underneath the marijuana one. So if you delete that note.
Oh, okay. So you had it preloaded?
Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, folks. Massachusetts prisons are full of people who were caught possessing marijuana. Tim won.
Can't be afraid to break with the crowd.
Nico's post-it seems to have some sort of smell emanating from it. Is that what those streaks are? What are the yellow? There's cat scratches on this.
I think Anne-Marie, you're drawing instead of using post-it.
Anne-Marie's drawing?
I think it might be. I don't know.
What an artiste.
I could be wrong.
And this is also, people can totally unmute themselves if they have questions or if they have ideas or thoughts to add onto this. This is really the chance where we start to get some audience participation and hear what people have to say about it. So a lot of people in the middle of the road on this one. That's not an option. It's either true or false, black or white.
I didn't know this until today when Paul told me. So go ahead, Paul. You want to share
All
that?
right, we ready?
Yep.
There's a lot of people in that middle. Katie, very wise. Gila, double question mark. I mean, that is brave. So they are not full of people that were caught possessing marijuana. If anyone is in prison in Massachusetts and they were possessing marijuana, they usually, it was usually in part of many other charges. And so it's like less than 1% of people in prison. And that's a federal number. So Massachusetts is even less than 1%, whatever that means.
Because Massachusetts has been decriminalized for like a decade at least, So
and it doesn't mean people. So there's a very real. I think it might have been the New York Times or the Washington Post. Massachusetts still struggles with enforcing marijuana-related infractions for people who are black or brown. That's something that's still an issue for law enforcement in the state. That being said, people are not, for example, black or brown people being pulled over more often than white people. So that's a problem. That's a social justice issue that we've seen in inequity for sure. But the idea of when we were being sold marijuana as a recreational substance, it is not a reality in Massachusetts that black or brown people are being imprisoned disproportionately for marijuana. Okay, let's do the next one. Any other questions about that? Cool. Here's the next one. Okay, folks, ready? Get those post-its ready. Marijuana is less harmful than alcohol. I know it's like a double negative, right?
Yeah, I know. I have to wrap my head around it when I think if I say that's true. If you say it's true, it means that.
Say it's true, then that means marijuana is less harmful than alcohol.
Right.
You say that it's false, you think marijuana is not less harmful. You think marijuana is more harmful than alcohol, potentially. Bri, come on, really? Is that where you're at? I just love the fact that you used Bri.
Yeah, I don't know. This is a tricky one. I mean,
Brian, you have thoughts about it? I'd love to hear them.
Well, I mean, alcohol is dangerous, not just to the body, but if you got in a car accident, it's dangerous to others.
Yeah, for sure.
And I mean, so with marijuana, I don't really know the statistics about people getting in car accidents on marijuana, but obviously we know that it affects the brain at a certain age. Also, I can't stand the smell, and you smell it everywhere now.
Yeah.
It's pretty gross.
Some people think it smells beautiful, Brian.
I disagree with that.
Okay, yeah, there we go. There's a disagreement. Well, people are still making choices here. Catherine's all over the map. Jonah's moving around. Okay, here we go. Are you guys ready? Marijuana can be less harmful than alcohol. I'm not going to say definitively that it is. So alcohol is more toxic to the neurodevelopment of kids. And alcohol can be potentially more toxic physically to your body. But marijuana is certainly harmful. And so I think that might be another one of the things we talk about is that it's harmless.
I think it depends on what kind of harm you're measuring, right?
Yeah.
Like there are some of the shorter term harms from marijuana that we've seen come out are, things like cannabis induced psychosis, and which happens at a way younger age than we see for like alcohol induced psychosis. And then we see hyperemesis syndrome we've talked about in here before, like with that cyclical vomiting syndrome. Like there are a couple of short-term marijuana-based syndromes that are less common but harmful. But then again, you don't get, death from marijuana poisoning like you do from alcohol poisoning. So it depends on really how you're measuring your harm, what specifically you're looking at. But it is not harmless. And I think that's where people make the jump is thinking like, oh, it's harmless.
I think that might be one of the, go ahead.
sorry, I'm in the dark now. I was also thinking of the harm in terms of the consequences, you know, for lack of motivation or, you know, the life consequences, not necessarily just physical harm.
Right. No, that's true. And actually, I'm going to quote Rick Cresta, who I was suggesting, who I saw years ago, but I always remember one thing he said, which was like, marijuana is impactful, not for what you do under the influence so much, but what you don't do, you know, and it's like, it's all the inaction that kind of takes over, that creates harm. Whereas with alcohol, you get more like disinhibition and like reckless action associated with it. So it's a very different, you know, process. So, but in the interest of time, we'll move on, Paul.
Here's the next one. Okay, marijuana has no medical benefit.
Oh, this is a tricky one.
Oh boy. Everyone's like, it's the best medicine on the planet. I'm just kidding. That hyperbole is inappropriate.
I think no is a strong word for that. I think that's why I got to go false.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of.
It's too absolute, right?
Yeah, it is. This is a black or white question. And someone else is still true over there. Who's that true?
This is true and true.
Well,
trying
here's
to see how many more we have for time.
oh, like three. I think three more.
Okay.
Okay, so marijuana absolutely has an immense amount of medical benefit potential, and they're like just beginning to figure out in like the last 10 years, like where exactly does that benefit come from? Is it the THC at all, or is it, which is the psychotropic part of the drug that makes people feel high, or is it the cannabidiol, the CBD chemical component of the drug that has like anti-inflammation and anti-nausal and all sorts of potential benefits? So we're going to learn much more about the medical benefits of marijuana. It's not really ready for big time yet, but it's being sold for sure as like a sort of cure-all medicine in a lot of these legislative changes, but we're not there yet, but we're getting there. And so it's really hopeful for a lot of people.
It seems to have like the strongest evidence around seizure disorder, you know, but interestingly, it's not approved as medicine by the FDA. And it's the only thing that is sold as medicine in the states that has a state-by-state approval process. That's just not allowed for any other substance. So, and it's weird how like in Massachusetts, like medical marijuana can be prescribed for this condition, but in Connecticut, they don't say it's okay for that condition because there's no federal umbrella overseeing it all. So the medical thing is a very tricky landscape, and doctors that I've heard don't think it's going to be approved by the FDA anytime soon. Not things that are in plant form. So
it also can't be prescribed. It can only be recommended because you can't have a prescription for it at the pharmacy. You have to have a license for it. It's obviously not really real medicine yet, but we're figuring it out.
Like there's no accurate dosing of it, so there is no prescription, therefore. So anyway, Paul, this one, I think everybody here, I think we should skip this one.
Skip it. I think we could figure that one out. Marijuana does not make you a better driver.
That it's not good for your driving skills.
Yeah, it might make you feel like you are, which is one of the crazy things about marijuana. You might feel like a better driver, but you are a worse driver.
False.
All right, here's one. Marijuana is not addictive.
Go.
Ooh, people are
well, people are just like false. I think everyone fell asleep. So marijuana
isn't addictive.
Marijuana is 100% habit forming for not 100% of people. Shelley, what is it? 1 in 11 adults?
Yeah.
So if you wait to use as an adult, 1 in 11 adults will have a habit formed or a dependence on marijuana, marijuana use disorder. About 1 in 6 if you start using as an adolescent. And so it's certainly addictive. And it's certainly more addictive to people who use it at a younger age. So the earlier you start, the more important it is to quit or to cease.
And this like myth goes back to studies that came out decades ago based on a very low potency form of marijuana. And that's not the marijuana that's out there anymore. And as the THC potency has gone up, the addictive quality of it has gone up too. But I can literally remember teaching psychology at LHS like 20 years ago. And in the textbook, it literally said marijuana is not addictive, like as an established fact in the psychology textbook. And we've come a long way since then.
Can I chime in on this one?
Sergeant Mazzaferro, what a pleasure.
So
Oh, Captain Mazzaferro.
To the craft beer craze that we have going on now, where beer back in the 70s was your Bud Light or even Bud, the blood alcohol content in the beer was not very high. Nowadays, we have all these craft beers, and just like marijuana, you have, hydro and everything that have different, THC levels that are much more potent than they were back in the 80s, the 70s, and the 80s. So that's how I relate it, is you have a lot more science involved in the cultivating, and the same thing with beer, the science involved to bring up those alcohol levels. So that's where I see the difference from today versus the 70s and the 80s.
No, I think that's a good point. And like people compare the concentrates, the THC concentrates, to being the equivalent of like vodka, versus wine with like the plant-based, which even the plant-based marijuana can be up to 19% THC now, but the dabs and concentrates can be like 90%, between 80 and 95%. So it is a difference between like, doing shots of hard alcohol and like having a glass of wine.
And you raise a good point too, Captain Mazzaferro, about, there's sort of a myth out there that this is an all natural thing. This is it's God's green earth that has provided this product to us. But, anthrax is a natural product too, but you should not eat it and consume it. But also there's tons and tons and tons of research coming out now about what's going on in Colorado and California with these grow facilities. And there's just tons of miracle grow going into the production of this plant. It's not this all organic, in your backyard with Graham's old, compost recipe. It's like literally miracle grow they're using to grow this as rapidly and effectively as possible. So it's not really what I think we're being sold.
So we want to respect people's time and maybe just spend like the last 5 or 10 minutes.
I thought our meeting went till 8:30. Is it just 8?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's still 8.
Okay. I thought it was 8:30. I thought we were doing great on time.
Maybe it's my mistake. I'm used to like with Zoom sticking to an hour. But...
We could definitely just respect people's time and not go an hour and a half and just do this in the next 10 minutes for sure. 5 to 10 minutes. If you have to go, please do leave right now and go quickly. But if you can stay, that would be wonderful. We're going to have a lot more feedback that we're looking to get from the attendees.
I lost my sharing. Hold on. Okay, is that back?
We can see your Jamboard.
Yeah, well, I was gonna, instead of using the Jamboard, I was gonna type and have people be able to talk.
Oh, I see, good idea.
So we can see each other more.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I can't type on it and share it at the same time, apparently.
Oh, weird.
It's not letting me right now anyway. I don't know.
You know what? What if I share it, but you type on it?
I think I can do that, yeah.
All right.
I'll stop my share.
Yeah, stop your share. I'll go find it. How's everyone doing? I don't need a little stretch break before we jump into some feedback.
I think it's because I'm in present mode. And if I go out of that.
Okay. Great. I am going to share this. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you. Wait, right. No one said thank you. No one said bless you.
We're all muted, Paul. Bless
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain.
Bless you.
Oh, God. Wow. This is the most religious experience. Okay.
So.
But my automatic reaction is to say thank you, as if like everyone. Sorry, I'm blushing. Okay, so Shelly, the way to do this is to go here and then go to full screen. How do I do that?
Okay, so I'm in there, and if I type, does it show up? Is my question. No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's so weird.
But you're in the Jamboard, that's why. If you go into the slides, I'm on the.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let me stop the share. Sorry, everybody.
So while we're getting our tech straightened out, if you could think about what do you think would be the most important messages for us to really push out into the community? Like what are the biggest misconceptions that you think are fueling people thinking like there's really nothing wrong with using marijuana for teenagers or that there's no harm to be posed by it? So this is your chance to kind of weigh in on what we might focus on for our social media messaging and for other campaigns around town.
I would say legal and natural does not mean safe.
Yeah. All right. I hope we can see what you type now. Are we?
I'm having problems still because now I'll figure it out. Just give me a second. It doesn't show up. I'm typing and it doesn't show up. So
That's so weird.
Yeah, there's some sort of interface. So
Huh.
legal, you know what?
Type it into the chat box.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. Actually, we can just have you all do that. Type in what you think we should do as a misperception into the chat box, and that'll be our list right there.
Oh, great idea.
That's
Okay.
it. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Anne Marie, awesome. Target parents with info, incredible resource. Yeah, that's one thing Rick Cresta talks about is not overselling or overstating facts, because teenagers are very smart and they can sort of sniff out when they're trying to be slammed over the head with facts. You can also find anything you want on the internet to back up your perspective on something.
All right, thanks, Chris. You got it in there.
Chris Rich. People pick the lesser of two evils: marijuana versus prescription drugs.
For mine, I don't really know how to write it. But it's like almost being like, I wish my kid can smoke because he's not or she's not doing a prescription drug or like abusing like Vicodin or something. And it's like, just because it's not the one thing doesn't validate that it's like safe or good to use. And I think that just because it doesn't have that kind of like haymaker punch that follows a lot of these other things, that some people think that it's just like, oh, whatever. And yeah, I just think that, and the whole like health aspect of it, because it's being commercialized the way that anything else is, and the fact that it's like, it's healthy, it's natural, it's all these things, but in reality, it's just not. And it's just, people think that it is and that it is safe, but it's just kind of a misconception.
And the second one Tim just said, I think that goes for like a lot of different things, not just with prescription drugs, with alcohol, and I think even to a point vaping too. I think more and more I hear or see people doing more marijuana than they are vaping. So I think even then it's kind of shifted towards marijuana is not as bad, so therefore it is okay.
Yeah, Rick Cresta says just because it may be less harmful does not mean it's harmless. It was interesting. That was part of the like legislative push by the marijuana lobbyists, which was like, look at what alcohol is doing to us. It's tearing our neighborhoods apart. It's tearing our families apart. Which is, to me, was like right on the edge of such a weak argument, because you're like, you are advocating for an additional addictive substance to be available in the retail, atmosphere. So it's like, why would you add to, basically it's like throwing fuel on a fire, right? And it's not going to replace alcohol use. And then we see that with youth all the time. Very, very, very rarely was a student that was just using alcohol going to switch to just using marijuana. They will usually increase the compound use of substances. So they'll use both at the same time.
An interesting thing in our data that I noticed this week looking at it is this is the first year that students who use marijuana, more of them were dabbing than using traditional smoking of marijuana, or using a dab pen was the lead way of using marijuana. which I thought was surprising because of the EVALI, like the lung injury crisis last year, which really focused on the risks of dab pens with marijuana. So it kind of surprised me that that was like still the lead, or that was now the lead.
And Gila said, I think Gila, you brought up a great point, being educated on the motives behind the marijuana industry and the false advertising. So that's basically like media literacy, right? So knowing when you're on Instagram or when you're on Snapchat or TikTok that there's a small group of people that are benefiting the most from marijuana being pervasive and normal for people to use. And it's just kind of like any other addictive substance industry, like tobacco and alcohol. You make more money with the more people that use. And then the more, it's similar to other markets, they've seen the most money, the most revenue comes from the heaviest users. So it's not all marijuana users that they really, really want to use. It's just they want heavy use to be as prevalent as possible. So that's also not healthy. Heavy use in no way is healthy. So it's an interesting reality of the industry. And then Amy Higgins says, educate about the misconception that no smoking it makes it less harmful, i.e. gummies. Yeah, gummies are still neurologically affecting a teenager. So, and also potentially, I know that some people have an experience with gummies where they get incredibly paranoid and they might have a weird stomach reaction to marijuana. Whereas if they had inhaled the exact same type of marijuana, they wouldn't have had that same experience at all. So gummies are a whole different ball game. And then don't in any way forget that gummies are a candy. And so when this was being pushed on us as a great thing for our communities to legalize marijuana, they really needed to push through edibles and gummies because marijuana users wanted to use gummies. And that was sort of a challenge of like, crap, how do we have candy but still look as like a legitimate adult market? It was really, I think, tough for them to sell that, but they sold it. And so you can have really high potency edibles in the market. What else we have?
I have a loosely related question. I was driving by the shops today and I noticed a place called Shot Stop. And it was a sign, it said Shot Stop, and then the subheading was medical rejuvenation. Anybody know anything about this place?
Is that an Enfield on Route 5?
It's right here in the shops in Long Meadow.
Oh,
I think it has two locations. There is one on Route 5 and one at the shops, and I think it's Botox, baby.
Oh, you
Clearly
kidding?
Botox.
Are you kidding me? Well,
It caught my attention because I'm like, Shot Stop?
just for migraines.
Oh
no, I'm being facetious.
I know, but okay. Well, I feel actually better that it's not, like from the drug and alcohol perspective, I'm like, what is this? Because I think it actually has a little like syringe on it, like on the logo. Like
yeah.
Right?
You guys can see my migraines if you look really closely. Look at all my migraines. I have to get those dealt with.
Here we go. Oh, it feels good. It feels good.
That's really interesting. Okay, thank you for helping me understand.
I didn't even know what it was, and I drove past it on Route 5. I'm like, what is that? Yeah.
Brian doesn't know what it is, and he gets Botox there twice a week. It's crazy.
I know. I have my migraines go away real quick.
But I was hoping, is it a vaccine location?
Oh, totally. That would make a lot of sense. There's a good vaccine stop where you can get Botox at the same time. So we have a lot of great contributions to the idea of, what are the misperceptions out there?
Oh, actually, Brian, if this is recorded, will the chat be recorded too then?
I don't think the chat's recorded, but you guys have been reading them off. So
okay. That's true.
Yeah.
We're, going with this. What about I know it's towards youth, but I know maybe about a year ago, there was an article about senior citizens who were eating edibles, and they were eating too many of them because it wasn't hitting them right away. And they were going to the hospital because their heart was racing. And I don't know if that's something to even be concerned about in Long Meadow, but there's a senior population And I mean, it did happen. So I don't know.
I don't think that's unique to seniors. I think that's the same with any users who are new, like new users. I think that's pretty common to like not know that there's that delayed response.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I wouldn't know. So I mean, you know, it could.
And
scare
they've
people.
seen in the states that rolled out legalization primarily, like Colorado, they immediately saw an uptick in people calling the what is it, the not toxic, what's the phone number, the
Poison control.
Poison control calls went through the roof with kids ingesting edible marijuana.
Oh, geez.
And animals, even their pets. So like, obviously when you increase access and you increase the amount people have in their homes, you're going to have problems if you have kids and animals. So that's something that they've seen.
Yeah, I'll put that in the chat just so we have like a record somehow. Risk of toxicity with edibles and concentrates, because maybe that's like a public service announcement type thing that we can get out to the whole community.
Yeah.
Not just to teenagers, right? Like
Right.
you said, parents with young kids and older people.
And I'm taking screenshots of the chat, Shelley.
Okay, great.
I think the other thing too is when, like, if you were to eat regular gummy bears, I'm not talking about marijuana edibles, but if you're eating regular edibles, how often do you just eat one or two? You're grabbing like handfuls, and I think it's a totally different perception.
Yeah. And Anne-Marie said talking about things with people, talking about things that people might miss out on, not motivated to do because of marijuana. And that's Shelley was talking about something Rick Cresta said that she won't forget. And I'll never forget Rick Cresta saying, marijuana probably won't kill you, but it might kill your dreams. And that was a teenager that he worked with that, went into his 20s, and he realized it wasn't, physically harming him or putting him in harm's way very often, but just like mentally, he was not setting as many goals, and if he wasn't achieving goals, he didn't care as much. He was a little more indifferent to not achieving a goal because he was high. I mean, that's kind of what being high makes you feel like. You feel more okay with things not turning out the way you wanted them to. So the idea of it doesn't kill you, it might kill your dreams, I thought was super relevant. Because, for a while there was the reefer madness of marijuana will kill you, it'll make you crazy. Yeah, thank you, Anne-Marie. Are we missing anything that anyone said?
I think this gives us plenty to start with.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, we're trying to basically beef up our marijuana prevention efforts, and we need to know what this group thinks are the misconceptions out there, the things that we need to change minds and hearts about in the community. So, all right, we'll take this to the, we're talking to Shelley, we'll take this to the assessment and evaluation subcommittee because we have a lot of new data to look at, and then we'll combine that data with this qualitative feedback, and it's going to be really helpful in us planning our next strategies. So thank you so much.
And we were hoping that there would be some interest for people to, work on designing some of these messages together, to go out. So I know we have marketing interns, we have people who are working on things. Stan helps design things, but maybe having like a marijuana specific group that would help kind of pull together some of these messages in some creative ways. So
yeah, like marijuana prevention action subcommittee. So if you're interested in joining that would probably be, I'm imagining a couple hours a month, really targeting marijuana prevention. We would love to have you join us, and it could be a daytime meeting depending on people's availability, or nighttime, whatever would be easier. But if you're interested, please just say, count me in the chat box, and then we can include you and get that group going. That would be wonderful. We got some people saying, count me in. I love it. Gila Sabetti's on board. Okay, we have a neuropharmacologist on board. Any other neuropharmacologists?
I'm saying not because I'm a neuropharmacologist, but because I would like to work on it too. And Paul, I feel like we should announce for people who don't know that you will be on a paternity leave, and that will, for those of you who don't know, Paul's wife is due April 15th. And he will be gone for 6 weeks on paternity leave, and then he will be working remotely for several weeks, and then he will be working remotely and in person for several weeks, and then he will take another 6 weeks off starting in late August. So he'll have 2 6-week windows where he will not be with us, and then like a 12-week window in between them where he'll be kind of hybrid, working in a hybrid, fashion. So in light of that, well, and congratulations, Paul, I guess, first off.
Yay.
Thank you so much. I've done so
Please
much.
keep us posted. So he will not be with us for the June, like our next meeting would be in June. And will you be at April 15th? Depending on
I'm
when
going to be in the, yeah, we'll be at the June meeting.
Oh, you'll be there. Okay, never
Yeah.
mind. He'll be with
I'll
us
be
at the
back.
June meeting. But we are posting a part-time position, which should go up soon on School Spring, which is where the school posts positions. So it's a 12-week total temporary position, but it's kind of odd in that it's 2 6-week segments for those 2 times that Paul won't be with us. So please spread the word about those. If you have interest, ask me or Paul about those, and they should be going up soon. They're in the pipeline of the approval process through School Spring. So
We'll share it with our coalition email newsletter.
that's true. Yeah, we can share it to the group.
People that have a prior existing relationship with the coalition we're so invited to apply. It'd be great. And it'll be how many hours a week again, Shelley? It was gonna be 20.
I know I think it flexes, but I think we were looking at like 15 to 20 hours a week for the 12-week periods. So
2 sections of 6 weeks. Okay.
it's really project oriented. Like we have some specific projects, one of them being like working on some of this marijuana outreach stuff. So we'll have some discrete standalone kind of projects that you can work on. So we're not expecting whoever comes in to like take over and be Paul for that time period. He's going to do all the grant reporting and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, if you have any questions, just let me or Paul know.
Can I tell this group something, because I love this group? So we're due April 15th. Our neighbor is also due April 15th. She went into labor tonight.
No.
Yeah, so I was like, oh God, like we're gonna have a baby really soon. Because I'm just like, oh, we've got like almost a month. And then literally I got a text saying, can you check if our door's locked? Like Kia's water broke. And we're like, wow, okay, so this is real. So guys, I will be going on leave. I'm just a little sooner than maybe I was anticipating.
That's scaring me.
I know. I'm like, can you imagine if it was like in the middle of the meeting? I'm like, guys, I gotta go. We got a wet floor in the kitchen. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be coming fast.
It's coming fast. But we can't wait. And thank you so much for your support. The coalition's been so great and the board's been fantastic.
All right.
Right.
So we'll round up names and kind of be.
I took a screenshot.
You took a screenshot? Excellent. Thanks for bearing with our technological difficulties. I mean, not that they were difficulties, but
This was our first Zoom call, guys. It was very hard for us. We've never done this before.
We still think you're awesome.
Thank you. Thank you, Galaxy J3 Star.
All right. With that, I believe we are done.
Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank
Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
Don't see you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.